everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and it's also recording from the past or the future. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs. That's right, I am right now not here at my desk like it looks like I am. It's Monday, but I am in Taipei, Taiwan, and at this point I'm probably somewhere finishing up a factory tour at VFC in New Taipei City. Yeah, that's right. Right now I am traveling and I'm gonna try to post as much as I can from that trip. I just wanna give you guys an update. I wanted to get this one pre-recorded. This one's actually getting recorded a little early. It's Friday, I think is the day I'm recording this. That's right, today is Friday the 14th. I flew out, again, past and future thing, on Saturday, which I lose an entire day. It's like a 17-hour total flight. Huge flight to get over to Taiwan from Portland, Oregon, where I'm at right now. So anyway, I want to give you guys an update on that and where I'm going to go. Also, don't forget, patches are in the store. Like right here, I got a bunch of my patches. The yellow logo, I got the Hello, My Name Is. I know they're blurry. You probably can't see them. Hang on. I'm going to make them work for you here so you can see them all. There you go. That, I got all those. I got the little ranger eyes and all that. Guess what? The reason I wanted to tell you about all this is I have reinstituted the free shipping. I did a whole shop change. Everything kind of changed. I got a vendor change who's fulfilling. Well, you don't want to know about that. Bottom line is free shipping worldwide is back and it's here to stay. So if you've been looking at it and you decided, oh man, shipping costs is just kind of tough to swallow, don't worry about it. All the prices you see on there include the shipping anywhere in the world and actually really good prices. But I did some changes. So all in all, everything came way down when you look at the total cost. So good news for you, big kind of savings in the store and all that. So if you guys have been holding off for a patch, now is the time. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep you guys here much longer because I got a ton of stuff to talk about in the questions because I wanna pack this thing full. Also, don't forget, real quick though, next week will be a semi-live, pre-recorded semi-live from Taipei. I'm going to actually be filming from Taiwan doing the Monday show. So get your questions in if you want me to answer anything from next week. Also, if there's something you want to know about, maybe some of the places I'm visiting, compliments of Elite Force. They're helping me with this trip, which is so awesome. Umarex USA to get me over there. I'm going to see VFC. I'm going to see Aries and a bunch of other companies. I'm actually going to be stopping by and probably visiting if I get a chance. Maybe ICS and some other ones. And I'm going to Hong Kong for about 24 hours. So I'm going to visit some shops there and some go up and down Gun Street and show you guys some cool stuff. Anyway, now I'm done. Now it's time for your questions in the Tippmann mail call. Kyrian Loftus writes, hey Jonathan, as a new player, what do you recommend is a good start? Do I go down the path of a cheap gun and gear or should I go down the path of an expensive gun and little gear? The dilemma. For me, gear matters a little. It depends on what you're playing. If you're playing indoor or out, you're gonna need somewhere to stuff those things. I would probably go with just a basic. I mean, you can get by with a very affordable chest rig and then upgrade later. It doesn't really have to be anything fancy when it comes to gear. If it's what you like, at least it's comfortable. Like I said, you can pick up chest rigs for under 40 bucks. In fact, if you shop around, even less than that. You can get really good ones around 50 or 60 that are still affordable. You don't have to buy like the super fancy stuff. Save your money for that later when you decide if you like a chest rig, a plate carrier, or what style gear. For me, I'd put a little more money into the gun if you have it. That is something that's going to be with you a lot longer. I think you'll be a lot happier with that decision versus making the big investment in gear. Again, this is just my opinion. Some people who may love gear more may say, no man, split it all up, go cheaper on the gun. But again, there's some great deals on guns out there, depending on your budget as well. If you're in the US, I think you can find a lot of stuff at or around $200 that's a good, solid, like I would call intermediate level gun to get you what you need. I mean, I know Classic Army's got some stuff, Elite Force has stuff, you name it, everybody's got something in that. If you got a little bit more money, you can really open it up and just go crazy with it. So if you're gonna kind of balance it out, maybe lower the gear a little bit, just get a chest rig, see what happens, wear it over your regular street clothes. Like my jeans that I have on now and that, I just throw it on. In fact, there's some days I just would rather do that, run around in tennis shoes and all that indoors. Now, if you're outdoors, you might want, some like camo or just something to keep you going. But at the end of the day, Airsoft, the engagement distance are so close. Camo helps, but it's not like huge deal because you're not doing like these 400-meter shots and things like that. But anyway, yeah, my 2 cents, save a little on the gear, spend a little extra on the gun if you have a choice. Copycat Airsoft writes, hey John, what do you think is the best way to clean your plate carrier, battle belts, etc. to get the stink up out of them? All right, 2 choices here, 2 options for you. If they are just slightly stanky, then I would probably go the Febreze route. You're gonna have some really good, or at least better experience there. Just hose those suckers down, set them someplace well ventilated. You might have to do a few passes. That can help get the stinky out of it. Lysol also does help as well. That'll help kill any bacteria. If you've kind of put it away a little wet and you had a little funky funk growing on it, that would help too. Now, if it's really bad and you got to get crazy with it, I would say a little bit of good old soap on it, and then like the garden hose or a pressure washer with a low pressure setting. Do not use the concrete cutting wide open. Also keep in mind with any of those things when you're scrubbing or whatever, keep in mind of your gear. If you have like an LBT plate carrier or an LBX or something, it's like, higher end or a Cry, something, you can scrub the crud out of it. The stitching is going to hold up. I mean, it's going to be a tank. If you got some really cheap gear, if you gone budget minded, at first, be mindful and test the soap and area first. Some of those, the dyes, the way they're actually made, not to get into garment and textiles too much, but especially at multicam when they roll a pattern on, it's called roll dyeing, may not soak through, and then you could strip some of the color and then you end up with like this weird, the browns are like pink now, that can happen. So I would definitely test whatever soap you're gonna use. You can use like Dawn or something like that, or I would use detergent, honestly. I would use, that way it's designed for cloth. Still test it to make sure it's still color fast. Most of the nylons, like the solid colors, you should be pretty good to go, especially like your blacks and things like that. They're pretty much dyed to the core. So you're not gonna have the same issues as you have something like a multicam pattern on something that's a little more repro. So yeah, those are my two things. Again, also too, on the more affordable stuff, the stitching may not be as robust, so getting a little crazy with the pressure washer and going nuts with it might do a little damage to that, maybe start to cause some fraying and issues like that. I got that tip from actually one of the other comments down below. I forget who it was, but thank you for putting that down below there about not going crazy with the pressure washer. So those are my two things. Febreze the crud out of it if you've got it, fabric refresh that sucker, and then if you need a little more oomph and you've got some super stank up in there, go the Lysol, and then crank it up to that soap and water, the garden hose, and just let it air out. I'd probably keep it out of the sun so you don't bleach anything like that. Vinny Giordano writes, "Hey Jonathan, I was wondering if I can upgrade my inner barrel to a Tightbore. I can't afford to raise my FPS due to field limits, and I'm right on the edge. Does a Tightbore increase FPS significantly?" Man, if you're close, some Tightbores, I've put Tightbores in and seen a few FPS change, depending on how well sealed up your systems were before. I've put Tightbores in my guns and have seen my gun jump 30 feet per second. No exaggeration, going from, like 360 to 390. I was like, what just happened? And that's because I was probably getting that bucking and everything sealed in better. They weren't really, maybe they'd shifted in transport, or over time the bucking had worn out or something. So I would say definitely kind of play it safe. If you're like knocking on the door of your field limits, I don't know. It's up to you really at that point if you want to take the risk into doing it. I mean, there are some great benefits of going at the Tightbore, especially if you have engagements at distance. It's going to help get those groupings tighter for you. But the side effect of that is if you put it in there and it's all sealed up well and your gun wasn't sealed that great before, or even because the tighter voluming sometimes will change your FPS. Sometimes, most of the time, on the higher route. So just kind of be mindful of that. And be prepared. If you go that route, you might have to do a little modding, or you may have to swap it back. So again, maybe try somebody else. If you know somebody that has one, try it out first, see if it works, see if it doesn't affect you before you make that investment, or maybe see if you can like get it from your local shop, tell them what you're dealing with, have them do the install for you. And if it does end up being over, they might be able to help get you resolved. Samuel Lovell writes, question, where do you work? What do you do for a living? Well, in the past, I was in IT. I was in computers. I haven't really talked about this in a long time. I just wanted to answer this question for you guys out there. But yeah, in the past, I was in the computer world in IT, and I was a tech for years. I worked in like boring backup and recovery stuff and data center stuff and all that, and eventually was like up into management and basically traveled around for a living. Now, I believe it or not, I do this full time. This is my job right here, YouTube with Airsoftology. So it's this. It's the web store, it's, the traveling around for events, doing things like that. That is my living. It's full time, and it's something I never, ever thought I'd be able to do. So this is actually fantastic. I'm so, I'm literally living the dream. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's super hard work. And if you guys know what YouTube pays, it ain't much, I will tell you that, but it is far more rewarding for me to do this. I just can't say enough about it. So anyway, yeah, short version is I do YouTube full time for a living. And it's great. It's great. Like I said, I don't regret making that big leap, and this is it. And for the foreseeable future, if I can get those words out of my mouth, this is what I'm gonna be doing. This is gonna be my job from now on out. All right, guys, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red Headsets video recommendation of the week. And this is a channel I don't think I've ever highlighted, which is mind-boggling because she's pretty big in Airsoft. It is actually Kelly, or Femme Fatale, out of the UK. And I don't think I've ever mentioned her on this channel, and I'm kicking myself for not doing that. In fact, I was going through, I was like, you know what? She's been hanging out here in the US. She's been with Unicorn Leah, or Leah, Del Castillo, and they've been doing like this big 2-week tour traveling around, California, and they went out to Enola Gay and all that. And I've been like, oh man, I wish I was down there to hang out and actually get to meet her in person. And then I'm thinking to myself going, you know what? I probably never mentioned her channel. So anyway, I definitely want you guys to check out the Femme Fatale channel if you haven't done it already, specifically this thing called vertical training or vertical shooting. This is super cool. It's her, as of this video, it's her most recent one, and it is literally rappelling and shooting through windows. Absolutely that. I mean, it's such a cool stuff. She also does like kind of a vloggy, kind of interactive video Q&A stuff on her channel as well, which is really good. She takes questions and answers those. So those are all really good things. I've seen her, I even do a lot of live stuff on Facebook that way. So if you guys haven't checked out the channel, definitely give it a look. Also, if you want to see more from her, talking about Unicorn Leah, Leah's been putting up a lot of videos from their visits here in town, like even Girls with Guns Day and things like that, as she's been traveling around the United States. And I'll link to Leah's video from that as well down there too. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely give Femme Fatale channel a look. And if you like it, hit the sub button and let her know that I sent you over there. All right, guys, that is it for this week's question and answer show. And as always, thank you so very much for coming to hang out here. And also thank you for asking awesome questions down below in the comment section. Again, that's where the questions go. Throw them down there, vote up your favorites, be persistent. And there was one I didn't answer yet, and it's about my high school, and you know who I'm talking. If you're watching, I know you do because you've asked it 3 weeks in a row, and I've had it clipped, I promise you, 3 weeks in a row. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to give it away. I'm trying to find my yearbook for your answer. Otherwise, I can't remember. I'm kind of old and I forget. It's been a long time. So I haven't forgot about you. I'm digging that up. I know everybody else is going, what the hell are you talking about, Jonathan? But trust me on this one. The person that's watching will know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, until next week, put your questions down below and go out, play some Airsoft, have some fun. No matter what you do, call your freaking hits.